Welcome back to Yankees Baseball. I'm Meredith Morakovitz alongside the Yankees general manager, Brian Cashman. Brian, we'll start with the news of the day. You never want to see it, but Chris Capuano exiting this one early. Any update on what's going on with him?
He's got a quad strain on the right side, apparently. We're going to have an MRI taken at 2:30 and get a feel for the severity of it. But unfortunately, he's going to be down with a right quad.
And you look at the pitching staff, a big day for the pitching staff tomorrow. You have Masahiro Tanaka throwing for the first time, also CC Sabathia throwing a sim game. How much concern is there every time those two guys are on the mound as far as the injury is concerned?
Right now they're healthy, so you think more about the performance and less about the health concern, because that can strike at any time. But hopefully those guys will have a good first day out on the competition side, and we'll look for the other guys, like whether it's Warren, Esmail Rogers or Whitley and Mitchell, to compete for that spot that's now vacated by Capuano.
You mentioned Esmail Rogers earlier today as well. What have you seen from him during this camp that gets you excited about the way he's throwing the ball?
He's throwing well. I mean, yesterday he threw only an inning because he's going to come back and start on Saturday for us. But that inning yesterday was spectacular. His secondary stuff, they were all well above average pitches, and so he had a good, clean one inning yesterday. And he's got a good arm, and so I know Larry worked with him for the period of time we had him last year. He went on some stuff continued to work on some stuff in winter ball, and so he's hitting the ground running here in spring training.
Getting back to Tanaka for a second, first outing of the spring. What do you look for from him during that first outing? It's so early in the spring.
Just stuff, health. That's it really. Less on the results, as much as how's the action on his pitches handling, and if there's any reservations throwing any of his pitches at any time, and seeing if he's got a smile on his face.
It seems like there's been a lot of excitement about some of the younger guys. You hear a lot about Greg Bird, Aaron Judge, Rob Refsnyder. Do you enjoy watching these guys develop over time?
It's nice to get those presence that we feel that are on the come unwrapped here in spring training in front of our media, who can kind of carry those looks to our fan base. We do have some good players coming. Some of them you have to wait on a little longer than others, but they definitely are opening eyes in camp.
Will you say that? Anybody closer than the others that you'd like to share?
Not really. Just again, it's a performance-driven industry, and so for those who can't be denied, they'll knock the door down and take a spot. Whether it's in the front end of this year or at any point during the year when we need help, and hopefully our guys can stay healthy. But it's nice to know that there's more guys, a group of guys that we can turn to down below that are from within.
Have there been any surprises so far this spring?
No, it really hasn't. It's nice that they're all contributing. But I wouldn't say that anybody is like shockingly a surprise. It's more of a getting to know, getting to watch how they handle their first big league camp in most cases, and how they interact with the veterans, how the veterans are responding to them and taking them under their wing. And so it's always a neat dynamic to watch how that unravels.
Alex Rodriguez has played in the field a couple times, had a few at-bats. What's your impression of him and what he's been able to show you thus far?
Just getting his work in, both on the defense and offensive side, and knocking the rust off. And he's in that category with the veterans where they've been there, done that so many times before that the early part of the spring for them isn't really to open anybody's eyes as much as again, get their sea legs back under them and work on certain things at certain weeks intervals throughout the spring. And so it's hard to do anything other than make sure, as long as they stay healthy, the last 10 days of camp, you drill down on those guys.
When do you feel like you'll really get a handle on what he is going to be for you guys?
Towards the end of spring training, really. The collection stuff that you see early from him and any of the veterans, it's really hard to get a grasp on, because their juices aren't flowing like these young kids are. Young kids are really getting after it and trying to open eyes, while the veterans are trying to maintain health and build towards the end of camp. And so they're both approaching things in a different way, and the roster's fairly set for the most part on the position player side, unless injuries hit. And right now we do have Brendan Ryan might be giving a vacancy sign to one spot on the position player side, but otherwise from a veteran standpoint, it gives them the ability to approach this thing. They're not trying to make the team, they're just trying to make sure they're ready when the bell rings in April.
When you mentioned Brendan Ryan, you look at guys like Jose Pirela. He was up a little bit last year. What's impressed you most about him?
Well, he's high energy. He's got great hitability, and the flexibility he provides from the defensive standpoint for the manager. And being on the roster gives him a leg up too on a lot of the other guys. like a Ref Snyder, for instance. But his energy and work ethic are very, very impressive.
Earlier today, you were busy at a press conference introducing your newest member of the front office, a special advisor to you, Hideki Matsui. What does he bring to the table, and what is that role going to be like for him?
Well, he's a special advisor to me, but really, the magic's going to occur in his interaction on the field in the minor leagues at all our affiliates with our Vice President of Player Development, Gary Dembo, with the minor league managers and hitting coaches he'll be working with, as well as those players that have the good fortune to work with him. This is someone that developed as an amateur in Japan, played in the pro leagues over there for 10 years, then came over here and played in major leagues for 10 years. A lot of experiences, a lot of both international and domestic here experiences that he can share on the playing side, hitting side, as well as handling the press. He's been the two biggest media markets in the world, in Tokyo and New York. So there's a lot of things that he can share, and we're looking forward to our younger players benefiting from his presence.
Brian, as always, thank you for the time.
Thanks so much.